Good morning, everyone. Well, thank you for coming back. This morning we have Julie Guillen. Who's going to be talking a little bit about her successes and some things that inspire her and her students. Just FYI, this is a little bit of the schedule that's we have for the next couple of days. Jenny is our last presenter for today. We're going to be skipping tomorrow, heading in Thursday, starting at 10 o'clock, and again on Friday. But without further ado, let me introduce Jenny. And Jenny, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hi everybody. My name is Jenni Guillen. I have the same last name as Pat Guillen, but we're not related. I teach in the biology department, and right now I'm teaching a lot of anatomy and physiology. I also teach immunology and a lot of the biological sciences. And I really love statistics. Yeah. So I think that's about. Is that okay?
Oh, it's perfectly fine.
Okay. And my research is on biomarkers and chronic disease. So am I allowed to share my screen?
Absolutely.
Okay. I was just thinking of just giving you a tour of my classes, if that's okay, and just instead of having the first half an hour me talking, just interrupting me with any questions that come up on the spur of the moment. And then so it's just more integrated, if that's okay. Okay.
I would also say anything that you're sharing, we'll want to be careful about showing any student information, names or anything because of FERPA. Yeah.
Names. Okay, I will keep that in mind. Okay. So this is my class. So this semester I'm teaching.
It's not sharing yet.
Anatomy and physiology. Just 1 second. Actually, I'll show you. I just started. This is my homepage for the first week.
The sharing's not coming through. Oh,
yeah.
There it goes.
Just a sec. So this is what it looks like. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And so this is just what it would look like. I just started using this Animoto. I don't know if you guys have heard of that before.
It's an awesome program.
Yeah, right? So let me see. Share computer sound. Here we go.
Oh my God, do not give that horse an Oreo.
You deserve it, buddy.
Stick it out.
Right there, see?
Oh, look, he went to Nancy. Oh my gosh, Nancy. You are the horse whisperer.
Okay. So I started using that Animoto, and I think it's really fun because you can just make some fun kind of videos, and they make the music overlay super easy. You just choose from some clips and you can work with a template and you can just make it really fun. So, I mean, just from that little clip, you might get an idea of, oh, Jenny seems pretty nice. or I don't know what that impression gives, but maybe it puts a face to the name. So that would be the first like week, and it just kind of gives you I'll put it up again. Share. It gives you the course description and then just a link to office hours, a picture, a link to the messaging tool, my phone number for my office, and then the Zoom link to meet, and then the required materials, um, and then how to get started. So go through the syllabus, read the orientation, start Unit 1. I have a similar thing that Colby showed, but it's just the Google appointments. So that one is just, I think I opened up a different tab for that. Let me show that tab. For that, this one right here. So it would look something like this, where it's got the available slots that haven't been taken yet, and it overlays their own Google Calendar appointments that they have in their personal calendar, so they can see where it overlaps and where it doesn't, if they're free or not. And they just click on it and sign their name and then submit. So with that, I feel like I have it doesn't look like there's a lot of slots on there because the majority of the slots have been taken already. And I think I see students every week. Every week they're making appointments, and normally during in-person semesters, I wouldn't see people every single week, multiple days of the week. So I feel like they're much more comfortable with this, like not having to email me to ask when I'm free. They just go to the link and then go to the Zoom room, and they're there. And they know I'm there, and then that's it. So I probably meet with people now like 3 times a week at least, and I think it's working really well. Actually, better than in person. Okay, so this is my course. So usually I have some sort of visual. I've been taking these top classes, and one of the things somebody said was making something visually exciting enhances learning because it stimulates them. And I felt like, okay, that's fantastic because I really love things that are visually exciting, and I don't feel like it's taking away from anything. It just makes it better. So this week we're doing blood vessels, and in the background you have, it's actually a microscopic photograph of blood vessels going through the intestines. And so I thought that was pretty cool. I put things to do list here just so people know, okay, this week I'm gonna read, I'm gonna do this homework, this is due. And then I put the optional things. So anything that's, I think it is optional. If you do it, you do it. If you don't, it's fine. The extra credit, the asynchronous lectures, the synchronous seminars, the practice tests and quizzes, and the art labeling quiz, I put all as optional. And so what I'm kind of hoping is that over time, they're going to do the required and then like take on 1 optional, 2 optional, and eventually work through all of them. And then for those, A students, probably they're doing all of the optional activities. And sometimes I put games here, or if there's games, like next week is the immune system. So I have like video games that you can play on your phone or the computer, where you're like different types of white blood cells and you're zapping away pathogens based on the type of white blood cell, stuff like that. If I don't have games or some interactive software, then I'll just put like fun facts like brain freeze. Everybody is curious about brain freeze, I feel, and or how long your blood vessels are. I try to promote the tutoring center because I don't think it's being utilized like it should be, and the website isn't entirely intuitive. So I try to put this on every week just to encourage people to try it out. And then this is always here at the bottom. All right. So
Jenny,
that's the homepage. Yeah.
can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
So I noticed that website that you have is in the overview section of the La Lima site. So does that mean you change that website as the week goes every week? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. 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 I change it every week, and then let's see. If I go to my, I have this Smorthing account, and I actually had this prior to COVID, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll just keep using it. But it shows you like how many people viewed the site. Can you see the number here?
Yes, we
2,000.
can.
Okay, and then it shows you like show analytics. It shows you like location. So there's nobody's name here, but it shows you like where everyone's coming from. Yeah. So I, like you were mentioning before, like, people are chiming in from Kapiolani, from Maui, blah, 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 right? So I can see where everybody is also coming in from their computer. And that also gives me an idea about what the students probably need, or what they would prefer if they're not with us, like in Hawaiian time, or if they're way over here in Micronesia or American Samoa. The time zone there, it could be 3 in the morning. Yeah, so I change these every week, and I do the same. I felt like if it's me, how am I gonna know where to go and what week I'm in? Because of these trainings that I went to, they were dividing the units by week, and I don't think in weeks. Like, I know the date, but I wouldn't know what week number we're in the semester. So that was confusing to me. So I made it by week, but then I divided it by units. So if you look on the side here, these were not here at the beginning, just the first one. I made it the unit with the dates, and then I made each week with the specific dates. So then you know precisely, oh, I'm in week 13 because the overview page says 13, and I'm just going to click on 13 when I get. So I think that made it easier for me if I was taking a course to do that. So in the beginning, I just had the unit 1, week 1. I had the announcements, which is just your basic announcements. And then I had about a week before the semester started a welcome announcement to just welcome them to the class, give them a link to the syllabus and the open educational resources, and then let them know to start reading if they wanted to, and if they wanted to peruse the site. I can't remember if it was open. Maybe one of you knows. Is it open a week before the semester?
The La Lima typically opens about a week prior, publishes a week prior, but you can always unpublish it if you're not ready for it to be shared, and then just remember to publish it again. Or you can publish it earlier than the server does.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I think what I did was I asked La Lima on the bottom, where is it? Request account at the very bottom. I requested a sandbox so that I can create the whole course and then publish it at once. Because when I unpublish it, I get emails about why their course disappeared from La Lima. And I just don't like answering a bunch of emails with the same question. So I just left it there with a little note saying it will be published by this date. And I set it up in the sandbox, and then I just imported everything and replaced it with this course. course. So that's what I did. And La Lima creates an account like that without question and within 24 hours. They're really, really good. And then this is our chat room. It's actually Padlet, which I noticed is on the link that I think Chris posted for the free tools or the online tools. So they just shared some fun ways to memorize bones. It could be like videos or games or any sort of thing that they wanted to share with the rest of the class. They can also post questions here to each other if they want. So anybody can post anything. So this is the Padlet. And I think it's really fun for sharing videos because it's so easy to upload. And for sharing ideas, it's really fun too. For the syllabus, it's just the basic syllabus. So this is the same one I've had before. I think the only things that I've changed, I usually include written step-by-step instructions on how to do things in addition to a video. Oh, I know. I added this netiquette. So I like this saying, it's nice to be nice. So I just tell them, oh yeah, it's nice to be nice, right? So just remember you can't hear people's tone, and if you make a joke, then sometimes it's hard to tell if you're joking or not. So just to be mindful of that. And then our lecture schedule is the same. And then I just included some of the same kind of information about myself and a fun video about why it's fun to learn. And I think this was just the disability, all the stuff that we get sent in the email about what we should include in terms of support services. I just put that all there. I don't think it came with links, or some of the links were funny. So I just added that in afterwards, which is easy because once you've done it, it's done unless they change the link. And then orientation is something that I kind of started since COVID because we would normally do this in person. We would normally go through it on the first week of school. And so this is something that when that 1 week prior to semester, I send that announcement, they can go to orientation and just get comfortable with knowing that they can find the textbook and the syllabus and all the different resources that they need to sign up for. So I just have a welcome. I have how to navigate through the class, which is how to go through La Lima. I know it seems kind of silly, but some people are taking online classes who would normally never take online classes. So I just try to keep that in mind that they're not everybody's an online learner. So they need a little bit extra. And if they don't want to see that, they don't have to watch it. I also have a Flipgrid. So this one is just like, hi, introduce yourself. And let's see. It's just like this. So I won't show you, but you just go to Flipgrid and you sign in with Gmail and you add a topic. And then it's really that simple. And you can just say, I just said something fun like name a fun fact about yourself. Tell me your name, your major, and your favorite food, or your favorite place to eat out, or something like that. And they just had, so it's just this grid of people and all their faces, and you can put a filter. So some people said, "Oh, can I put a mask on my face?" So then it's just like a Lego head with a body, and I said that's totally fine. It doesn't whatever you want to do, it's fine. And I did one myself. I told them my favorite food, sushi, and a little bit about my family. Um, this is sign up for reminders. I don't think this is, yeah. So this is their name. This is just a Google form. And it says hybrid online class preparedness survey, what class they're in, how they would like to be contacted for a reminder. So one of the things is that some people don't check their email. I know that seems crazy to us, but some people, they don't check it for a day or 2 days. But they're really on top of like text messages. Like that's their thing. So they can put this text message in or their phone number in, and they could also include their email if they wanted to. And then I have, so they could just listen to asynchronous seminars. They could do synchronous or do a combination of both. And then I just asked them some background information on how comfortable they are with online and all the different types of tools that people commonly use or that I was using in the past, and the type of compatibility that I would have to work with. Right now, I want to do an experiment in the laboratory measuring um, oxygen. It's pretty cool. There's a pulse oximeter app you can add onto your phone, and then this little light comes on in the back, and you put your finger on it, and then it can measure how much oxygen is going through your blood. And everybody has a phone practically, so just stuff like that, like making sure that phone app is compatible with what they've indicated they have. Problems, just basic stuff, so demographics as well. Okay, and then are you ready to learn online? So this is this is kind of like a readiness challenge to see if their browser is up to date, and this is totally borrowed from Kapiolani, but I thought, oh, it's pretty good because it does get them kind of prepared for the online courses, and it's going to help them with all of their courses. So why not? So some of them took it and sent me the certificate, even though I didn't ask for it, but they were so excited that they got the certificate. So I said, oh, okay, great. And then these are just accordion style things that they can do. I did, you saw my syllabus, but I actually did like a syllabus tour. So it'd be like we were in class, and I'm just kind of summing it up in case they don't actually read the syllabus, because who would imagine that? Somebody not reading the syllabus, right? So yeah, I just imagine people would rather watch a 2-minute, 3-minute video and watch it through there. This was just how to navigate La Lima, which I didn't make. I just borrowed this in case they had problems with the La Lima. And then this is the site that we use for our homework and for online testing. And I made a video of how to do these steps, basically. And for laboratory, they needed to log in to create an account for Turnitin, because we get free Turnitin for faculty, and that way I don't need to check for plagiarism. They can just resubmit, revise, paraphrase, and resubmit their paper prior to the deadline, and then I'll just grade the last submission. And so that's in the laboratory. And then that's the netiquette again. And then that's orientation. So then that's week 1. and then they just have their regular things, their unit lessons. These are all lesson modules. I think it's just really slow. And I love these YouTube videos because they're really short and sweet. So if they want to get a gist of like the core concept of the chapter, I try to pick like the core concept and put a YouTube video after, if it seems accurate. So I'll just put it in there, embed it in, and then they have that interactive checklist that they can go through. And then we've got the reading with the open resources, the assignments with the optional extra credit and practice tests. We also have podcasts that they can listen to. And sometimes I make it easy where they just click on the link and it takes them straight there. And then seminars. Seminars is both synchronous and asynchronous. So I know there's a lot of conversation about should I do asynchronous or synchronous. I thought some people would like one or the other, so I just did both. I do it via Zoom, and typically we do a lot of group work. So today was not group work though. Today was I have this cool pad. I was at Hilo distance learning teaching thing, and you have like this pencil, and typically I would do a lot of drawings in class, so I just do drawings, and I call it like a Bob Ross kind of lecture. I'm like, just paint with me, and I just change the colors, and they paint with me, and a lot of people say that they really like the painting sessions. So I mean, it's not group interaction, but they like it, so that's fun. And then other days we'll do things like let's see, this is small groups, so they go in breakout rooms, and then they have their instructions. So they try to, in this one, they're listing as many organelles as a group that they can and describing their function, and then giving an example of what type of tissue or organ you might think you might find these cells, or cells with lots of these organelles. So like the liver, people always think it's detox. Okay, well, what organelle detoxes? Okay, that's a smooth endoplasmic reticulum, so maybe liver would be an example. So it takes a little bit, a couple more steps further to brainstorm and think about, okay, where might I find this? So they just find their group number, and then I can see their writing as they're writing through it. As you guys probably know, you can see all their cursors. And if they're heading in a completely wrong direction, then I'll jump in and say, oh, maybe a better example might be this or something. We recently did a Google Docs with our review guide. So for this, I thought I'll take all the review questions and then split it up amongst 3 groups. So they completed it as a group, as a class. And I did ask them to try to put like the chapter or the page that they found it on, so that people could go back and read more on it. And some of them were reading the questions, like interpreting it a little bit differently. So that's when I would jump in and say, okay, this is a range of motion example would be like flexion, extension, instead of like names of joints. So that was good, because sometimes I don't know that they're going to take the review guide and misinterpret it. And so I got to see and correct for that too. And then before our Bob Ross, we had, or today we actually we did the heart. I saw there was some sort of Lucid something or other in the free online tools. I was using Lucid Spark, and I don't know. I think they might be different, but maybe probably Chris knows. Are they different?
They're pretty similar.
Similar, but different
Yes.
companies. Yeah. So for this one, it was just they just had to. I started off with the or how do I move this? I started off with um, the parts of the heart or the inferior vena cava, and then they just had to make a schematic of the oxygenated versus deoxygenated blood flow. So they created this as a class. So sometimes we do things as a class. Sometimes we do things in groups. Sometimes it's just me painting. It just varies. I try to keep it different just for fun. What else? But this was a lot of fun because anybody can change it. And then other times too, through that software, there's interactive physiology where we can go through simulations online and learn about the different types of physiological processes. Like in this case, it was muscle contraction by motor neurons, and there's questions. And then I think at the end, I gave them a Zoom poll, and they just to see where everybody was. And it's anonymous, and surprisingly, a lot of people got the got it correct. Oh, there's some chat here. Okay. Oh, my chat's coming up. Sorry. Oh, the links. Okay. And then that's our synchronous seminar. For our asynchronous seminar, let me move this. For our asynchronous seminar, I'll just go to this week. I uploaded the PowerPoint. For some reason, people sometimes have a hard time with downloading it. So I've also uploaded it to YouTube. And I think that makes it easier too. Plus, with the YouTube, you can add the closed captioning automatically. So that one is automatic. It's, 90% accurate, and it'll add the closed captioning. And so that's ADA compliant. So this is the download for the slides, and this is the YouTube video. And then every week there's some sort of challenge, or not, well, there's a game or a quiz or something. So I think this week was an art labeling quiz that they could take. And this was just a free resource that I found online that for those who feel like they're more visual learners and want to, instead of having a sentence here, they want to do something visual, then they can practice with that. And the other thing was, I think last unit I was doing more of Kahoot kind of thing, but with quizzes. Yeah. I was doing a quizzes, so they play each other. If that one, it's like they give you points for everything you get correct, and then it's kind of like an arcade where you're like the top number one or whatever. But when we played it, sometimes we play it in class. I tell them like you can put any kind of name that you want, like I don't know, Stan the Man or. You just something cute, because they're shy. So, and they don't want to see their name at the end as the loser. So they just make up a bunch of names, and then we just play the quiz together. And I think it's fun because it's got sound effects, and it does give me an idea of where they are and where they stand. So then I know in seminar, sometimes I feel like I'm being really redundant and maybe I'm dumbing them down because they just know all this information already. But then I can see like they missed like the fundamental questions. So I should really go back a step instead of starting from point zero, go start at -0 maybe. So that's okay. And then the study guide, and these are all Google Docs and a practice exam. A lot of practice tests because sometimes people I notice they lack the test taking skills and they know the content but they don't understand how to take exams. So I told them practice makes perfect. I think I put that up on there once for week 12. Practice makes perfect for test taking. I put it on the overview. For tests, they do show an improvement with standardized exams, that the more they practice, the higher their scores will be for like SAT or any sort of test. So it's not, it's got to do with test taking as well. Gradebook is standard. This is just a link to their resource. I use messages to keep my email separate from my regular email because I get, you guys probably get more than me, but I get too many. And then facts. So when I get questions that are repetitive, I put it on facts because it's just easier. So yes, or I just put these top frequently asked questions, and I figure I'll make a compilation of them over time where I'll just import them into my class semester after semester, import the tool, and then eventually hopefully I hit all the questions possibly that can be asked, and that will eliminate the number of repetitive messages as well. And then lastly for lab, it's basically the same thing except for lab, as you know, is typically in person. So for this, the lab manual had to be uploaded as a Google Doc. And let's see, what would be... Okay, so this is like a typical lab. So I have the outcomes, the introductory, just a 10-minute, 10-minute spiel about the lab, and then a checklist. And if they want to ask questions to each other, they can post them here. And then the lab manual, the scoring guidelines, and then a sample lab report. And if they want to come into the lab, I also run in-person labs. So they just need to sign up using this sign up genius here. And then the online quiz and just reminders here. I don't know if you guys want to see all this or not, or if it's TMI. This is a typical lab. So all of the things that they would see in person, these are all hyperlinked to slides that they can see online, and they can practice the labeling. And again, these are just all links to the slides that they would normally see. This is a fun thing that they can do with their fingerprints to assess what type of fingerprint type they have, loop, whorl, or arch. Some people did it for fun. And then this is how to measure BMI, body mass index, and categorize it, and then how to measure body fat percentage. And then their instructions for their lab report are here. So here they just took that one of those variables and then related it to some public health factor. like socioeconomic factor, income, education, something that they were interested in. So since they're collecting their own information, I thought it would be more fun and interesting for them if they did something that they were already interested in. So some people did BMI with psychological factors. Some people did it with income. Some people did it with ethnicity. Some people with exercise. So you can see like how people's what they were interested. People's interests were varied, and then this was just what they should include in their lab report. So it seems like a lot, but I think it's better to include a lot rather than less, because a lot of them haven't written a lab report, so they're uncertain of what they should include. And then they upload this to Turnitin, and Turnitin will tell them if it's too plagiarized or not. And I think that helps a lot, because some people think if you put quotes in it, then and you have 50% quotes, it's totally fine. And even though you cited your references, it's going to be fine. So it's good to give them some sort of guideline. And then I just include a breakdown. I think people call it a rubric, but mine is just kind of a breakdown of the points. I guess it's like a rubric, just so they can see the distribution of the points. And I put another column here with their points, and then a comments column where I just write, your null hypothesis is missing. It should have been something like this. And then go ahead.
We got about 5 more minutes until
Okay.
the end. If you want to have some questions, or we can actually kind of go over until 1 o'clock, because it's the last session for today. But I didn't want to interrupt you, because your presentation has been mesmerizing and just very interesting. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. I was introduced to Sign Up Genius for a potluck. I think it was John Hamilton's wife's retirement party, maybe. But anyways, it had like all this food. Like instead of lab 3 and 4, it had like desserts, 2 slots, dinner, 8 slots, or main dish. And I was thinking, yeah, I could do that with my labs, because they were like, oh, you can only have X amount of people in your lab, because they have to be socially distanced. And I was like, yes, okay, I'm going to do that. So I just have all the sections, and then I have anybody with the link can sign up, and they just write their name and when they want to sign up. I have usually like a deadline of when I'd like for them to sign up by, and then they can come to lab like that. So some people like to come to lab, and some people rather stay at home. And so this is how I've used this potluck site to figure that out. And this seems to be working. Nobody's had any technical issues with it so far. And then there's just a study guide for. I made a copy of everything because I wasn't sure. I know they can do viewer. I guess I get a little bit paranoid that one day I'll forget and they'll edit it, and then or something, I'll make some error and everything will be undone. But there's a checklist of their quiz, and then they just take the quiz online, and they can use the quizzes tool to see which answers they got wrong and what the correct answers were for their questions. I think this is my account, so I've only answered these 2 quizzes, which is why it's like this. But that's about it. I think that's about it. All right.
That's been excellent.
Yeah.
Very, very excellent. Yeah. Lots of good information.
Okay.
Any questions? I have some things that I picked up on. I noticed that your course templates look a little bit different than some others. And just to kind of let everybody know why they look different is Jenny referred to that she took the Top to Go, which is teaching online prep program through Kapiolani Community College, and they have a course template. And so Jenny was using that. You may see an example of another course template from a different program, which is called Preparing to Teach Online, or PTO. That's through the UH Innovation Online Innovation Center. So they might look a little bit different, but they have a lot of the same features. So you really can't go wrong with either of the course templates, because they do help you know where to put specific types of information. And it's kind of like, when it's like a thought provoker as well. So I just wanted to kind of point that out, the difference between, if you see different layouts, that's why. I wanted to tell you about Padlet. Jenny uses a great way. Another way that I've had an instructor use it is that she has her students provide different graphics or images for a particular medical symptom. And then she has the students submit those, and then she puts it on the Padlet, and then she has the students come back in and vote on them. And then somebody gets the point for getting the best image for that week that explains or shows the symptom. So there's all sorts of different ways to use these tools, like Padlet or Kahoot or these others. So you're seeing some excellent examples during our showcase. The other thing that I keyed in on is when you have your students introduce yourselves and they asked you if they could just use a graphic like Lego head or whatever. One thing that we want to keep in mind is that we don't want to force our students to provide a image of themselves. They may not be comfortable with doing that. So it's good to be open to that idea of, to say, can they use an avatar or some other representation of themselves? So that was great. And I just had one final question for Jenny. Technology wise, when you're using these different technologies, and I noticed, asking them the questions through your survey or your form, have you had any difficulties with students who may not have certain technologies, such as a laptop, or maybe they're trying to just use their phone, and also with issues about their internet connection? And how did you handle those?
So far, there's nobody who's using only their phone. I think they might check on things or come. One person comes to the synchronous seminar on their phone, but everyone else, for the most part, is using some sort of computer. And that might be a part of that laptop rental at the library too. That probably helps too.
Yeah, we did put a link in the chat, loanable technology through the Hilo library. And that's not only laptops, but it's also headphones, document cameras. I believe they have the Wacom tablets that did you get your tablet that you write on, Jenny, from there?
No, I bought it. I could have got it for free. Darn.
Well, I think that it depends on when you bought it. It might not, we might not have had them then, but please go to that link, Loanable Technology, and check and see if there's anything that would be useful for you and or your students.
Okay, I'll do that. And the connectivity, I think some students do have a little bit slower internet, and some of them are coming to campus to get a higher speed internet. But so far, it's been in the minority of students. So that's good.
I think one thing that I noticed throughout your design of your course is that you do provide different modalities. And like you said, everybody learns different ways. So that's really great. And also you provide different ways of contact. So, or not contact, but learning. So you do have the synchronous and the asynchronous. So that kind of goes to my question about the technology issue, is that students who are not able to access information one way still have the ability to access it another way. So it's not making anybody feel disconnected or left out. So that's excellent.
Yeah, I kind of forgot to mention those synchronous seminars they're not actually lectures. We're just We just take the basically the hardest concept and do something, an activity with it. So we don't go through all the details. That's all in the recordings. Yeah. I think it's more fun.
I think one thing, Jenny, that you do that I think is super interesting, and my hat off to you, is definitely you making learning fun. And I love how you're addressing like the visual learner. That's like myself. And again, like just how Cindy said, you're giving them multiple avenues to do this, and you keep them engaged by using this technology, and you're constantly looking at new applications. So bravo, that is excellent,
Oh.
excellent. And I love the organization layout. You lay out the your course with the expectations and with the instructions on every step on how to access those things. That is just excellent.
One thing I would like to interject as well is that if you're just starting out with online learning, please do not get overwhelmed with these showcases, because you have some individuals who have been doing this for a while, like Dr. Jan Ray's session this morning. She's been doing it for 20 plus years. So the thing to remember is that you're not going to get everything right. You're not going to use every tool that you might see in these showcases. You just want to kind of keep things not bearable, but keep it to the level that you feel comfortable. And then as you gain proficiency in that, then you can add something the next semester. So don't feel like you have to add everything, but just choose things with a mind that you're not just adding it for the bells and whistles, that it does have a purpose. So that's a good way to, I think about which tools would work for you and or your students.
Yeah, I think that Sandbox really helped me a lot, because instead of trying to scramble like in a couple of weeks to create an entire course, I could do it in the backdrop over a couple of months, and that made life a little less stressful.
And with that, Jenny did explain that when she did use the Sandbox to develop her course, then she was able to use a Laulima tool called Import From Site, where you're able to import the content from one course into another course site. So for instance, if you have your course developed this semester, you want to use it next semester, then you can do an import from site and you can bring in the content. And you can be specific about that. Maybe you want to bring in the lessons, but you don't want to bring in the tests, or, so you can be very specific about those things. Typically, most everybody brings everything over, but just to let you know that you can bring in only specific tools and information. So good plug for that, Jenny, because that's really helpful to do that, to develop in the background when you've got a little bit more time to think about things.
Go, Jenny.
Oh, you guys are too kind.
I wanted to add that I do like the fact that you change your overview site per week, so that the students, every time they log in during that week, they know what week and what is really assigned. It's really like immediately when they log into Laulima, this is what's happening this week, which is really good, I think.
Yeah, I agree with Efren. I think a lot of people don't think about changing the overview, that they can change it. They just think about that's the static information. It's there the whole semester. But yeah, there are some faculty that use the overview to do that. They change it up every week, maybe put a new graphic, for their discipline. So it's really fun and engaging. So yeah, it's a good example.
And then I thought maybe, Efren, you were thinking that's a lot of work in your head when you asked me that. So I was gonna say, but I didn't say it. But on there, you'll notice it didn't have any dates. It just had the week. So that's why I was like, I'm just gonna use this as a template. Maybe I'll add, but it's gonna be there for as long as I want to use it over and over and over again. And once I make it, it's pretty much done. So yeah, it's I think it's worth it. It's a good investment in time.
I think so.
Yeah. It's nice to have something right in your face, right?
Well, I think a thread that we've been seeing running through these sessions today is helping students
Oh yeah.
in the class for that week. And I noticed that you too use the checklist. We've seen those examples in all 3 sessions of using checklists for the students, and then, you know, letting them know what's going to be expected of them, what's due this week, and then giving them that ability to check things off. And a lot of times think about the psychological aspect of that too, is that you always feel much better when you can check something off. You feel so much more successful. So I think that's really helpful too.
I think that the only thing I don't really see people using much of that I see in the DOE, but not really much here, is that Remind app. And the students who don't check their email, they really like that because the tests are all, if you're doing a test within a certain time period, they're really, if they miss that, they're just so bumming. So I send them a text about an hour before, like, it's coming, you know, run to a computer. And the people who don't check their email, they're really happy to sign up for that and get the text message, because it is hard to keep track of all. I mean, imagine if you had your phone and then every time you had an assignment for your classes, a text would pop up. You would really be on top of your classes, I think, you know? So that's I think that's one thing. It just, you have to input that all manually into that Remind app, but it is free for educators. So once you do it for the semester, it's done. Yeah.
That's great. That's a great idea, because we've heard that many times, is that, you know, students nowadays really don't check their email, and texting is much more, you know, their bailiwick. So, or their, so that's great. Good adaptation, I think.
Yeah. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Jenny. That was excellent.
Yeah.
That was
Thank you,
excellent
Jenny.
presentation. Yeah, you're definitely an inspiration. I think you're gonna be an inspiration for a lot of the people. But again, thank you so much for your presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
And
Thanks
thank
for
you for
organizing this, by
Yeah.
the way.
Oh yeah, thank you guys for organizing.
Yeah, this has been great. You know, it's really something that I think is, like Chris is saying, it can be very inspirational for others, and the ability to be able to go back and look at the recording. And Amy is actually helping us a lot in these videos, and being able to put timestamps on the videos so that faculty, if they have a certain question about something that you talked about, maybe like, you know, organizing the course or using a particular tool, they can jump right to that area. So that's going to be great for everybody to be able to go back and learn about things. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. It's been excellent.
I wanted to add what really gets me excited with all of the things that I've seen in the 3 talks is that, you know, a lot of these things can transition to face-to-face and make even our face-to-face classes even more enhanced. You know, so that's what I'm really excited about once we actually can do face-to-face classes after. So
and I think the thing to think about that too is, imagine the students are getting introductions to these tools and ways of teaching, and then when you go back to face-to-face, they're going to be like, oh, hey, I missed that. So I think that's a good thing, is that you know, to continue doing this, because there is a lot of value in the ways that, you know, we're having to do teaching nowadays. Yeah, great. Good insight.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question? Did you guys think my Animoto video was too silly?
No, I
No, yeah.
No, I thought, you know, and that's the thing, is that showing your personality when you're online, you can't, like, I can't remember if it was you or if it was in another of the sessions today, but it's like text cannot convey emotion, personality. So it's great to have those kinds of things, I believe.
Not only that too, though, one thing I gotta say, it humanizes the whole thing.
Yes.
And then you can feel kindness, and it's not so hard and edged anymore. All of a sudden now it's very humanized. So I think that's excellent. I think more people should do that. Makes you feel really comfortable with your instructor after that.
Yeah, and one comment, Amy, is she says she's got a lot of background noise, so she's been chatting, but she said, who doesn't want to give a horse an Oreo?
That's an icebreaker right there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Excellent. No, I'd keep it.
Totally, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. All right. Thank
Okay,
you
guys.
guys.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Okay, guys.
Take
Thank
care.
you
Have a
so
good
much.
rest of the day.
Take care.